Okay, this is page 88 of your math journal. And we're going to call this one Functions in Real Life. Okay, I want you to note right here. There are 4 ways to represent functions. And you need to be able to do all 4 ways. Okay, we can do an equation. In parentheses, I want you to put function rule. We can do a graph. Context, which would mean the real life story or situation. And we can do a function table. Alright, with those 4 ways, let's look at all 4 of them together in a situation. Okay, we're going to start with a context. Okay, it costs, so this is an example. It costs $2 to get into an arcade. And $3 for each activity. Okay, there's 2 things I want you to pick out here. In this, I want you to find your rate and your starting point. 4 things. So in your context, I want you to find these 4 things. Okay, I want you to find the input, output, rate, and your starting point. We talked about these yesterday. Okay, thinking here. What's the part that controls the situation? It costs $2 to get into an arcade and $3 for each activity. Okay, the part you have control over is how many activities you pick. If you're going to the arcade, you can pick how many activities you're going to do. So, I want you to identify the input. In this case, it'd be how many activities you do. Output changes because of the input. So what changes as you select what activities you want to do? That would be your cost. It's going to cost you more if you decide to do more activities. Okay. Rate is how much it changes each time. Well, here, is it going to change by $2 each time or by $3? For each, there's a rate word right there. So rate is going to be $3. And our starting point, what's our price going, or cost going to start at? It would start at $2 because it costs you $2 to get into the arcade. Alright, with that, let's go ahead and we can start by making a table. we need to identify on this table our rate and our starting point. So we're going to do activities as our input. Let's call it A. And our cost in dollars, let's call that one C. So our input's going to be A, our output is going to be C. So we just identified our variables here. All right, I always like to start with 0 because 0 is where you start. So if I start with 0, I choose to do 0 activities. How much is it going to cost me? Well, if I'm going with my friends to the arcade, it's going to cost me $2 because I'm going into the arcade. I might not do anything in there, but it costs me $2 to get in. If I do 1 activity, how much is it going to cost me? Well, $3 for each activity, so times that by 3 would be 3 plus $2 to get in there. Arcade, that would be a total cost of $5. If I decide to do 2, it's going to cost me $6 for the activities plus $2 to get in, so that'd be 8. Okay, what if I decide to do 5 activities? 5 times 3 is 15. Add the $2 to get in. That's going to cost me $17. Okay, so from there, I have some different amounts. Now, if I'm writing an equation, I already have all the pieces I need to make it. So, I know my rate is 3, so it costs $3 for each activity. So, 3 times A plus how much did it cost me to start? $2 to get in. And that is how I get my output, my cost. My rate, my starting point. There's my input, and there's my output. All the different pieces to make a nice function row. Alright, the last thing that we need to do is graph it. Make a nice, neat graph. Okay, we need to label it. Our input was activities, so let's label this activities. And then this one was our cost in dollars. Okay, now we can graph the ones we have here. We can graph other ones. Are we limited to only this amount of activities? No. So, 0's in the corner. Looking at these numbers, I probably want to be able to go up to like 17, so I don't want to number by 1s on this one. I'm probably going to number by 2's. So if I do 2, 4, 6, I can probably fit them all on here. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, yeah, I'll be able to fit it on here. 22, 24. So these are all dollars. Okay, down here, I probably just need a label by 1s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we already have a few points. We can add some if we want to. 0, 2, there's my starting point. If I do 0 activities, it costs me $2. If I do 1 activity, it's going to cost me $5. So $5 would be halfway here between 4 and 6. 2 activities was $8. We jumped to 5 activities and it costs $17, so halfway between 18 and 16. But notice it's still making that straight line. If I wanted to figure out other amounts in here, I can. Now, I want you to realize, if you know the context, sometimes putting a line through it doesn't work. Can I do half of an activity here? No, so there's nothing in between here. I either do the activity or I don't, so I'm actually just going to leave dots. But if it was something like, I was comparing weight to price, I can get half a pound, so I could connect them there. But here, I'm not going to connect them because there's nothing in between. I can't do 2.5 activities. I could do 3 though. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 2 would be 11. So I could go 3, 11. I could do 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So 4, 14. See how it's making a nice straight line for me though? This would be my graph representation of the function. So you can see my 4 things. So here, this would be the graph. Here's the table. Here's the equation. And the context is the story. Now you know all 4 representations of a function.